A comparison on all these three Evercoat products, but right now I was just going to go over something about bondo over paint and bondo, whether you can do it, at least with these products. I'm not finding them to spec out to go over paint or primer. So anyway, I'm going to go over what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do a field comparison with all three of these and see if they really claim they do what they claim. This is about 13, if you get a really good price, about 13 bucks a gallon. A lot of you guys are probably paying 18 for this. You're going, what? True carriage. This is, I think, $26 a gallon for Z-Grip. Non-clogging, lightweight. They all claim to be easy sanding. It's funny. So, miracle sanding on this one. And this is Evercoat Gold. Okay, this is supposed to be from inside information. Okay, I'm not supposed to know this. But if you use Rage, Evercoat Rage, this is like the same thing. So, it's a lot cheaper. This is about $36 a gallon. Now, I'm going to show you guys later in another video, not today. I've got to get this motor back together. It's going to rain in a couple days here, so I don't really want to strip anything outside. I got to go to another state, do some work here coming up, so I can't do this right away. But probably when I get back, look for it. I'll be doing a video on comparison to see if it's really worth spending $36 a gallon. And I bought this especially for you because I would just keep using this myself. I go, oh, well, this sands with 80 grit. Well, maybe it is better. I can always learn something new. That's the way I look at it. And, it's only $100 or something to try the different ones. For me, that's not really a big deal. But for some of you guys, that $100 could be the difference between buying a gallon of primer and not buying a gallon of primer. So anyway, so I went ahead and ran through the labels, and it says right here directions. Every single one of them says remove oil, grease, and wax. Duh. Okay. Use 80 grit, 40 to 80 grit disc to remove paint. So in other words, it's telling you to go to bare metal. Take the paint off, go to bare metal, like they've always done with plastic filler. Let's look at Z-Grip. Turn on my light. Okay, same thing. Directions. I have to look. I can't look through the video camera because I can't see it. Clean, discreet. Well, the same thing. Use 40 to 80 grit disc to remove paint. So, okay, it also says right here, Z-Grip. Tack-free lightweight body filler formulated with miracle sanding. Hatonite. Okay, whatever that is. For superior sanding ability, Z-Grip is designed to provide a maximum adhesion to galvanized steel, aluminum, SMC, I don't know what that is really, something, SMC E-coats, okay, so that might be, and maybe that's like E-coats, that would be epoxy coats. So this one actually specs to stick to epoxy and bare metal, bare steel. So it may stick to E-coat, which is epoxy coating. Interesting, because I've seen guys putting this product over epoxy. I don't know if I trust it still. The funny thing is you put it on there and then you really don't know whether it's working until like 2 years later, when all of a sudden it's cracking and you're like, hey, How come it's cracking? You take off your bondo, you go down, not on bare metal, there's some paint there and it cracks. So same thing, let's look at this one again here. Evercoat's formula designed to level with smooth finish, just reduce sanding, okay. I'm looking for the, okay, it says here, can use scratch swelling, okay. Looking here, galvanized steel, aluminum, much, okay, provides adhesion to galvanized steel and aluminum. And it also says faster sanding without risk. Okay, I do not see anything about putting it on on primer. So for some reason, this one they recommend E-coat. You can put it over E-coat. This one, it is not looking like you can put it on that. But all of them say to remove the paint. So it's kind of a conflict. Okay, directions. Mild cleaning of solvent, okay, and then it says here 40-50 to grit, large areas 80 grit. Okay, grind repair area. So it is saying to take it to bare metal, man. So anyway, this one apparently is supposed to. I've tried this years ago, okay. I tried different products. Oh, this one sounds better. And tried stuff that was more expensive, and most of the time I didn't really see much difference in the sanding. So maybe that's changed. It's time to try it, and that's what we're going to do. So for a conclusion, this one, bare metal only. Okay, this one says on the label can be going over E-coats, which is epoxy coating. This one says on the label bare metal. It's $36 a gallon product. It's more expensive than this stuff. Okay, still says bare metal. It does not say to put it over. This one says it's weird. It says ZNX7 for super adhesion, but it doesn't show that it would go over bare metal. I'm not seeing it anywhere. Let me look here again. Let me just read this for a second. So in the specs, it does not say specifically that it can go over E-coats, but it does say thoroughly dry surface, okay, use 80 grit sandpaper, okay, 40 to 80 grit marks, feather edge, okay. It's talking about feather edging. It says to remove only the paint. So it says on there that you can remove only the paint. So does that mean you can leave the original primer underneath? You know, I wouldn't. Just because my experience with going bondo over paint is not very good. Everything I've ever seen cracks over time. So apparently that's why a lot of guys are using the Z-grip, because it says on the can that it can go over primer, over E-coat, only over epoxy coating, which is kind of strange to me, that they would allow it to only go over epoxy coating, but not over other primers like etching primer or something like that, because there must be something in that allows this to adhere. I don't know. I still, honestly, if you're going to try that, go for it, but I'm certainly not going to do it. I'm going to go over bare metal on everything I do. But so apparently the difference between these three is probably that specification. This one's supposed to be easier sanding. Okay, that was the big thing on this. Sands with 80 grit, really easy. This one doesn't specify actually that, but it does say it can go over E-coats. This one here is bare metal only, and that's the difference between these products. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give these things a shot in a little while, but of course when I get back, I just wanted to go over the bare metal issue with you guys and let you guys know what I saw and what you can look for. They do have, I know that there is a product out there that you can put over, they say factory finish paint. In other words, they don't want to tell you that they can put it over, a repaint because it may not be properly adhered. So, but that product is by 3M, the one that I know of, and it's about $50 a gallon. So if it's worth $50 for you to put bondo over your paint, then go for it. But I think you could just get yourself a grinder and save yourself some money and take the paint off. The issue with that is, and the worries of some of the guys is they say that the primer, well, let's go over that real quick. They say that the epoxy primer, if you go with your, say, Z-grip over the epoxy primer, it's a better surface for potential new rust. But let's just talk about that for a second. You're going epoxy primer over bare metal, correct? So the bare metal was open, and then you went with epoxy primer. If it was open for any period of time, hour, day, if it had stripper on it, if you wash the stripper off with water, either one, stripper has water in it, you've got moisture in your metal. You're going to have it there. So it's either going to be underneath your epoxy primer, or it's going to be underneath your plastic filler, or it's going to be underneath, you had bare metal, duh. So the way that, so a lot of people are overcautious. They try and say that this is the right way and all this stuff. You know what, just do what you think is right. Be realistic about it and think about the fact that the car was bare metal at one point and now you've put something on it. So whether it was epoxy primer first or it was filler, the objectivity of it is that the filler is porous and the filler could have gotten water in the filler. But the way I look at it is, if you filled it and then you sanded it right away, you didn't have water in it, right? And you primed right over that, and you didn't leave it outside to rust. So if it was sealed with a good primer, like if you used, epoxy primer over your filler, then I don't see a way that water could have gotten into the filler itself and caused the metal to rust underneath it. So those are just things to think about. When everybody tells you different things, think about it for yourself. Come up with your own way to do it. But I'm going to do a sanding comparison between all these, and just to show you guys if I think that they actually sand any better than this one. For $36, that's a lot more money than $13. And this one at $26 is two of these. So 3 times the amount, 2 times the amount, one, I don't know if it saves you enough time. I mean, if you're a production shop, it and you're doing it every day and stuff like that, and you increase your volume 50% or 30%, then it's worth it, to spend the extra time. But at home doing your own car, I'm not sure. I'm going to go over that stuff. We're going to give it a comparison here soon and then see what the actual difference is. But as far as going over bare metal, I would go over bare metal, but this product does spec that you can go over. I'm sure it's roughened primer. It does say to have it sanded with 40 to 80 grit. So there it again. You've sanded your primer with 40 to 80 grit. Guess what happens when you sand it? It opens it up. Now, it's no different really than going over bare metal. Because if you've opened up the primer so that this will stick, now it's open all the way to the bare metal. So the theory of that is, to me, a farce. I would just say if these two are the same as far as sanding goes, I would not use this. I would go right to this, because it's just, to me, it's kind of pointless. Unless you have like little places where you couldn't sand, like down in little, where you had like a low spot and you just can't get in there and grind it down to bare metal, you might want to put this on, just to be safe. Maybe it works a little bit better as far as that goes. But then if this really does sand, if it does really sand more like polyester, then this might be really a cool product to use, and it might save you some steps and less primer and stuff like that, which might pay for itself. So we're going to check that out in the future here. But as far as the bare metal thing, that's up to you. But I'm giving you guys some bones so that you can figure out how to figure it out for yourselves.